Think about being a college athlete and having to deal with games, practices, academics, which is class, handling tutors, doing team meetings, watching team film, going to away games, which can sometimes be up to 2 hours or more, dealing with that travel part, and as well as maintaining a social life. It can be a lot. Coming from a college athlete myself, this is my second year being in the college being a college athlete at the JUCO level, which is close to the NCAA. It's not far from it, but it's a long jump from the high school world of just really having 1.5 hour practice a day, 2 games a week, which I would say the farthest travel distance was about maybe like 45 minutes. And I don't want to say high school classes are easy, but jumping to college classes, it's definitely a lot harder. According to the NCAA, nearly 30% of athletes report feeling overwhelmed by anxiety, which shows that this is not a small issue, that it impacts a lot of the collegiate athletes and should not be underlooked. I can speak from my own experience. I was definitely very overwhelmed coming into my first year straight out of high school. It's a whole different world, academically, physically, even emotionally. Like, there's a lot more to it. You're joining a whole new team. In high school, you kind of know everyone. You grow with them for 4 years, and then you come with them from middle school, and then you just jump into a whole new program, whole new school, whole new environment with sometimes nobody that you know. If you're lucky, you know a few people that you could go to college with, but it can be really hard not knowing anybody you attend your first year with. To begin with, we're going to look at the pressures that college athletes face. There's intense physical, academic, social pressure, and it's just a completely different lifestyle that you need to learn to balance. The academic part, like I said, longer classes, fewer times a week, I would say harder, more difficult assignments, bigger, heavier exams, and a lot more that you need to do academically. And then there's the social pressure to do well and know to balance these things. And the physical pressure, you are kind of expected to do a lot of weight training on your own, getting in the gym on your own, and always being at peak performance, if you would. You always need to be in your best shape, whether it's for games or even if you're just a practice player, you got to be in peak shape. And it's a completely different lifestyle compared to high school. According to the NCAA, many athletes spend 40 hours a week on just a sport, and this is not including academically, not including classes, not including homework, not including tutors that you attend. So you can only imagine how stressful that could be on top of that 40 hours a week with being with your team, with their coaches, and team meetings, and not academic, and watching film. It can be a lot. And on top of that, you can see tutors, which I know from experience. I've seen many tutors for my accounting classes, my math classes, and I would see them for maybe like 4 hours a week during exam weeks as well. You take advantage of your professor's office hours and just going down just to talk with them, kind of learning more and telling them where you're struggling, and they help you. And there's also the pressure to perform well. There's there's a link between your identity and your ableness to perform well. The NCAA reports that identity is tied to performance and can be a little bit overwhelming for the college athlete because, for example, if you have a bad game and you have bad stats and you're a starter and you're kind of expected to do well and put up big numbers and you put up 2 points, next day you see your professor that went to your game and he mentions that you didn't do too well, like what happened? And it could be hard to talk about because it could be something that is uncontrollable because something could have happened outside of class. Maybe you were feeling sick or maybe you just weren't at your peak performance and it was uncontrollable. So it can be pretty overwhelming, knowing from experience as well. I'm a starter, and there's been many games where I didn't perform well, where I couldn't make a free throw or struggled to shoot the ball, and it can really take a toll on your mental health. And now that we kind of talked about a little bit of the pressures, let's talk about how it affects our mental health. All this pressure can take serious toll on our mental health. Anxiety and depression is extremely common among collegiate athletes. Coming from experience, I've struggled with anxiety in the classroom, on the court, emotionally. It can be very hard, and I know that it's pretty common for athletes to become depressed when they're underperforming or not feeling like they're not fitting in or doing as well as they should. According to the American College Health Association, 40% of collegiate athletes report feeling anxiety, which 40% is not a small number. This is almost 50%, which is almost 1 to 2 every college athletes feeling some sort of anxiety, which is very underlooked, and I don't feel like many people would know this. Injuries can also impact a collegiate athlete's mental health. I know from experience, I broke my collarbone my junior year, mid-season, and it took a big toll on me. I knew that it was going to be hard to recover from. I'm missing most of my season, and in that recruiting stage, your junior year is very important, and it really sucked mentally because I knew that I wasn't losing my opportunity, but you can lose opportunities from being injured. Research from the British Journal of Sports Medicine shows that injured athletes can more likely become depressed due to feeling like they're not doing what they should or feeling like they can't recover quick enough as they should. A common injury is tearing your ACL or MCL, which is a huge recovery time. You need to undergo extensive surgery and recovery time, physical therapy for a while, and it could result in you missing a whole year of season, basketball-wise. Many athletes do not also seek for help due to stigma. There's kind of a pressure for collegiate athletes to kind of deal with themselves and know how to handle that pressure and have it kind of expected coming into it that you're going to have all these pressures, but it's very hard due to the stigma to even reach out for help or even just talk about it sometimes. It can be really hard. Former Olympic swimmer Michael Phelps recently spoke about his struggles and how he felt like he couldn't seek for help, and this shined a big light on the problems of the stigma in collegiate athletes and professional athletes as well, that it was very hard to speak about, especially with the lack of resources. So we've seen all the challenges, and now we talk about what schools have done in the past and are continuing to do. Schools are beginning to provide resources like therapists, mental health professionals, open talks with your teammates, as well as kind of just like more advocacy for all students, even if you're not facing mental challenges, just like be open to talk. The NCAA now requires schools to have plans for mental health, which is a huge step. Whiles ago, there was no access to any type of resources like that. And coaches and teammates are also a huge part of this. If your coaches don't understand the problems of mental health and how it can affect their athletes, it can also play a big toll. Not that they don't care, but it's the fact that they might not advocate and help them seek for help as much as they should. As well as your teammates. Your teammates are a big part of your mental health, and if they care, then excuse me, if they care, it can help you speak up for sure. Gymnast Simone Biles emphasized the importance of mental health and to prioritize well-being. This sparked an important conversations about well-being and focusing on your well-being as well as the mental health part. All of this sums up with kind of shining a huge light on mental health in college athletes and how all the pressures they face, social, academic, physical, talent-wise, and all that. And it's very important for people to understand the challenges athletes face and how they're underlooked and how resources should be provided for all college athletes. Thank you.